My name is James, and today I'm going to give you a recap of the UFC Vegas 98. That was Tatsuro, Taira taking on Brandon Royval. If you just want to see a certain part of how I did on the bets and all that kind of stuff and the picks, skip to the end. All that stuff will be there. Timestamps in the description. All the fun stuff. Before I get started with everything, I got a bone to pick. The UFC judging recently has been absolutely outrageous. On this fight card, we have 3 split decisions, and somehow that bald little fat alien Sal D'amato gets on the wrong side of every single decision. And you might be thinking, oh James, why are you being so cruel? No, it's every fight card and that he's on the wrong decision or side on the decision. Like, statistically, how the fuck do you do that? I think if I had insider trading or insider, information, all that kind of stuff, I would, anytime I hear what Sal D'amato's thinking or doing, I'm betting the opposite. Because he's wrong just every single time, and I don't get it. I don't get why the UFC don't do anything. I don't get why the athletic decision don't do anything. It's outrageous. And not even get outrageous fact of the fucking Julia Pena fight last weekend too. And he was on the wrong side of the decision, which is why she won there. And then we got her as champion. Fucking good one. I'm heated because of it, because I didn't lose money, but last weekend I lost money because of that stupid shit. But I don't know. The UFC need to do something about the judges. Mike Bell, horrible as well. Sal D'amato is the main cancer. He's the tumor. He's spreading. The other judges, they're decent. I obviously have a bone to pick with a few of the other ones, but for the most part, they're pretty reliable. It's just like, we need to redo the rule book with them, and just being like, hey, we gotta test you because you're doing so shit. Get him out of the sport. Ugh, 2 minutes have now gone by of just me yapping. I'm sorry, okay? I just hate it. Just hate him. Hate him, yeah. Anyway, let's just get into it. Clayton Carpenter taking on Lucas Rocha. Good breakout performance for Clayton Carpenter. He looked the real deal. Mean ground and pound. Slice and elbow on Rocha in the first round and then found the sub. He deserves the performance of the night. Pays coaches and all that kind of fun stuff. Good work. Honestly, he seems like a good prospect. He was throwing good combinations. The takedowns were there, and he looked very clean. And nasty ground and pound. He was trying to finish the fight and not just trying to stall on the ground. Fuck you, Mario Batista. Next up, we have Dan Argueta taking on Cody Haddon. Dan Argueta, I like him as a fighter just because he's non-stop, all that kind of stuff, and he's relentless with the takedowns. The problem is if he doesn't get the takedowns, he's somewhat useless. Okay? Cody Haddon is a real prospect, and honestly, I'm super excited to see where he goes in the UFC, because even though he's so young and so untested relative, he was doing all the right things. Dan Argueta obviously came out the gate straight for the takedowns, and Haddon was able to withstand them, reverse some of the positions, shoot his own takedowns, and his boxing was so clean. He's I think like 24, 26, something like that, but he's good. He's good, and I know Dan Argueta obviously isn't the top of the division and all that kind of stuff, and obviously Haddon's got a lot to learn. I get that, but based on what we saw here, Haddon's no joke. Haddon is no joke. He looks good. And Dan Argueta, I don't know whether he's still going to be in the sport after, because he is on quite a losing streak right now. And obviously after the first round, it was just, he couldn't really get those takedowns, and he did begin to gas. But I don't know. Very good fight. Both guys kind of left everything out there, which is, you always love to see that from a fan perspective. If you lose the fight, I'm not going to shit on you, right? At least you fought a good fight. Right, if you're Mario Batista and stole against the cage against Jose Aldo, guillotine. Not guillotine, what's that fucking, I guess guillotine is that? The French Revolution shit where they just cut off your head. A little bit too far, but outrageous. Next, we had Julia Polastri taking on Cory McKenna. I was traveling, so I didn't actually see this one. I was in a car, but from what the highlights, about 2 minutes worth of highlights, Julia Polastri was just the first to the punch, and I picked her to win, which is good. Obviously, Cory had a good first round, but clear first and second round to Julia. She was just first to the punch, and just about as much of a breakdown you're going to get. Next, we have 2 fat asses. I am so done with this. As a fan, right, the only thing I want, the only thing I kind of like expect from the fighters is to be able to go the 15 minutes if they have to. Right? If you're bad and you lose, fair. You're bad and you lose. There's nothing to it. If you're bad and you lose because you're out of shape and you can't go more than 4 minutes in a fight, that's a different story. This is your full-time job. You get paid money to get in the cage, and for some reason, you can't fight more than 4 minutes. Something's not right there. You know, you get a full training camp, you know, like what? Is it 8 weeks or some shit like that, if not longer, and you can't go more than 4 minutes? Is your training camp just sitting in the garden drinking beers? What are you doing? You know, Junior Tafa and Sean Sharaf, they had a good first round, good back and forth. Both guys would land in. And Junior, after the 4th minute, he gassed. He death gassed, basically. He was laying on the ground. He got saved by the bell. Sean Sharaf literally almost beat him. And that's not to mention that Junior Tafa was, you know, 3 to 4 times favorite. Saved by the bell, almost got knocked out. He then came out, obviously swinging in the second round, and then that's when he caught Sean Sharaf, not by a big knockout, but kind of just like standing up KO. But Sean Sharaf was done. He took it on short notice. Fair enough. But yeah, I'm not impressed by Junior Tafa. It's just the Tafa brothers, big knockout power, big kickboxing, all that kind of stuff. And they even say, oh, people know that they want us to take us down. People know that they want to take us down, so that's all we train. It doesn't fucking look like it. You do one takedown, you win the fight against these guys. So honestly, the last time I ever personally bet on them, because I can't deal with that kind of stuff. Because it's just like, it's one simple flaw and you've lost the whole match. There goes your money. Goodbye. Whatever. Themba Gorimbo versus Niko Price. Honestly, Themba looked really good compared to what he did last time. It's, you know, he definitely improved on the wrestling. Striking looked clean, and overall, the wrestling stole the show here. Wasn't the most entertaining fight to watch for sure, but he did good. Niko Price, he looked a little bit old, but the problem is when he was on the ground, he just wasn't doing the right things, which is quite sad to see. You know, especially with the modern day MMA, you got to use your whole body when you're on the ground to put the feet to the hips, all that kind of stuff. Try to push off, try to reverse, all that kind of stuff. And Niko he just wasn't doing it. And I think that's why he lost. Because again, there was positions where Themba, yes, holding good like position on the ground, but there were ways to escape. And if Niko was using his whole body instead of just his arms to try to break free, I think that would have happened. Jonathan Pearce, Pat Sabatini. I went with Jonathan Pearce. I thought his wrestling would be too much. Turns out Pat Sabatini should have seen it coming. He was great. He was pretty much just a backpacker the whole time on Pearce and got the submission. So good stuff, Pat. We like to see that. Temerov versus CJ. CJ did what CJ does. He runs around the cage. He got obviously caught by Temerov and pretty much a nasty finish. Vergara was definitely done in the cage and clean body shot at the end too. Temerov, I don't know what to think about him yet. Yes, he looked great. And yes, he looks very muscular, big power, the whole works, you know, a bunch of finishes. I did see him overswing far too much in this fight, and again, he was head hunting. I don't know whether that was because his UFC debut and he just wanted to make a mark for himself. That's totally reasonable. But I don't know about him yet. I need to see another fight at least longer than 2 minutes to actually tell whether I trust him or not, you know? You know, he does have all the skills and it looks like he has the cardio and all that kind of stuff, but I need to see more of him before I start actually laying down big money on him. But very good performance of the night. That's going to go a long way in Uzbekistan. Good stuff. Next, I don't even care about this next fight. Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono. Both guys look mid. You know, to start off, Morono had success, which I hated. And then Rodriguez kind of pulled it together in the second and third round, kind of finding his flow state a little bit. But both guys were just mid, you know, destined to never be the top 15. It's kind of all there is to it. Moving on, we have Grant Dawson, angry Grant Dawson. I like this side of him. Unlucky I had the over 1.5 and over 2.5 on him, but can't always get what you want, I guess. Grant Dawson taking on Rafa Garcia. Grant Dawson, angry little man in there, got the takedown and just started walloping the ground and pound in the second round. And Rafa drowning in his own blood. Good stuff. You know, Grant Dawson is normally a decision fighter. I'm very happy that he got this win. You know, 80 strikes landed to 29. I get that most of them were probably that were on the ground there. It was more ground and pound rather than actual like stand on the feet jabs. But yeah, Grant Dawson, he had a funny little moment with his speech about his wife and all that kind of stuff. Good stuff. Next, Chidi versus Jared Gooden. This is how you clinch on the cage. Mario Batista, you little gnome. Not gnome. you know. Chidi did great on the cage. He was just doing good elbows, good clinch work, and that's how he won the fight. Jaron Gordon, same thing. He made a few mistakes, and that's why he didn't win the fight. Wasn't entertaining that much. Chidi had some okay moments. Of course, landed a high amount of total strikes, but wasn't anything crazy. And then co-main event, Brad Tavares, he dropped Jong Park, and yeah, fumbled the finish. Brad Tavares had a good early moment, and then Jong Park kind of stuck it out, toughed it out. And then Brad, as he got obviously more tired, realized he couldn't hit as hard. Jong Park realized that, and just the pressure was the difference here. So good win by Park, and the Iron Turtle gets another victory. Main event, my gosh, this was a fun main event to watch. Let's see what I remember. I think it was like a first round, because going into the fifth, it was 2-2. Yeah, first round was Royval. He looked good. There was obviously good back and forth. Taira eventually got the takedown. But Royval on the feet, he was looking fast, he was looking clean. Round 2, it switches sides. Taira just hops on the back and just doesn't let go. I underestimated Taira's control on the ground. Phenomenal. And just phenomenal with his triangle as well, just not letting go even when Royval was standing up. Very impressive. So yeah, round 2, clear as day Taira. Round 3 is probably one of the best rounds we've had in this year. I'm not going to say the best, because obviously there's a lot of rounds that have happened, but this was great back and forth. Royval starts it off and just pieces up Taira. Like, in round 3 alone, it was 81 strikes to Royval. 81, and Taira landed 7. What the fuck? 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes, and he landed 81 total strikes. So that's just the magnitude of actually what he did. But, towards the end of the round, the last minute, Taira did try to pull it back and all that kind of stuff. And, he tried for the submission. Because Brandon Royval, if I'm not mistaken, he did go for an armbar, which then got reversed, because obviously Taira's just better on the ground. So it was kind of a mislapse of judgment, I would say, from Royval. But either way, clear as day, Royval round 3. Round 4, vice versa. Taira gets on the back again and pulls it off. Just good control. He wins that round. And then round 5, obviously the swing round, but not really. I think Royval kind of takes it away here. 57 strikes to 15. I get that obviously Taira had the takedowns, but he was just tired, and the accumulation of damage was just too much, and Royval definitely pulled it off. Great underdog win, and underdog money that I made there. Come on. Overall, it was a very good card. As we see on the screen here, obviously I went 10 and 12 for picks, so phenomenal work. We did bet quite heavy on this card, 18 units, but we returned 29. A unit for me is $100, so I made $1,100. Come on! Red money is paid. So we like that, and yeah, that was the recap. Honestly, again, there was a few good fights, of course. Like the first 2 fights, Cody, Haddon, Clayton, Carpenter, great stuff. Obviously Temenov with his good finish, Dawson, angry Dawson, and then obviously the main event kind of stole the show. But again, there were a few mishaps in this card, like for example Gooden just not doing the right thing, the fucking Alex Morono fight, the Niko Price mislaps, and obviously the Junior Tafa one. So the good and bad, not the ugly at least. Just good and bad moments in this card, but honestly, pretty happy with it. I'm excited for the next card, which is... what is it? Hernandez versus Pereira. So my prediction video should be out tomorrow or the next day. So if you like what you see here, obviously check it out either tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next time. Take care.